I'm so glad you clicked on this video. I promise, this one will be a banger. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. The film begins with Thomas awakening in a rising elevator, accompanied by labeled supply containers from an organization called WCKD. Upon reaching the top, a door opens above him, revealing a group of young boys resembling the Lord of the Flies scenario. Initially fleeing, Thomas soon halts as he realizes he is trapped within a confined glade, enclosed by towering walls. Glade restrains Thomas, preventing him from making an escape into a maze accessible through a doorway within the wall. The leader of the group, Albie, along with his advisor Newt, provides Thomas with an explanation of their situation. Every month, a supply-filled elevator known as the Box emerges on the surface, bringing not only provisions, but also a new boy. They all reside in the Glade and refer to themselves as Gladers. Strangely, none of them can recall anything about their pasts or the reasons behind their arrival, but their names gradually return to them after a few days. Each boy is assigned a specific role, such as builders or runners. A door in the massive wall opens daily and closes at night, leading to a maze encircling the Glade. The runners venture into the maze, searching for an escape route. However, there is a perilous risk. Being trapped in the maze overnight means encountering the Grievers, resulting in certain death. The maze undergoes transformations every night, adding to its challenge. Albie, being the first boy to arrive in the Glade, remains unaware of the purpose behind their presence, as no one possesses such knowledge. Thomas begins to develop a bond with Chuck, a younger member who arrived in the Glade a month earlier. Meanwhile, an evening celebration takes place in honor of Thomas. During the festivities, Glade engages in a wrestling match with another boy and invites Thomas to participate. They engage in a friendly sparring session, and when Thomas accidentally hits his head on the ground, a sudden recollection of his name emerges. Later that night, Thomas experiences a dream characterized by fleeting images. Within the dream, a woman utters the words, "Wicked is good." Albie takes Thomas on a tour, showing him various locations within their surroundings. Upon arrival, the boys engrave their names on the wall, symbolizing their presence. When one of them tragically passes away, they solemnly cross out the deceased boy's name. Thomas strives to fit in and is assigned the task of gathering fertilizer from the nearby woods. During his venture, he is unexpectedly ambushed by Ben, one of the runners who has been stung by a Griever. As they engage in a struggle, another boy accuses Thomas, saying, "This is all your fault. I witnessed it." That boy is experiencing what they call the changing. The sting causes immense agony and induces violent tendencies. Unfortunately, there is no known cure, so they send the affected boy into the maze at night, just before the doors close. Concern spreads among the group as they contemplate a Griever attack occurring during daylight hours. During the night, Thomas experiences another dream where a woman assures him of Wicked's goodness. In this dream, he also recollects a memory of himself and a girl of similar age sitting across from each other at workstations, engaged in diagnostic activities. The following day, Albie ventures into the maze to retrace Ben's path and uncover the cause of his disappearance. As the day progresses, rain starts to fall, and with dusk approaching, Albie has not yet returned. All the boys gather near the maze entrance, anxiously awaiting Albie's arrival. Just as the doors are about to close, Minho, the lead runner, arrives with a severely injured Albie. In a rush to assist them, Thomas races into the maze, but unfortunately, the door shuts behind him. Using vines, Minho and Thomas suspend Albie's body, striving to protect him from the Grievers. Albie had been stung while inside the maze. One of the Grievers, resembling colossal bedbugs with robotic legs and scorpion tails, emerges and starts pursuing Thomas. Engaging in a frantic chase, Thomas and the Griever navigate through the maze, encountering shifting walls. Eventually, Thomas manages to entice the Griever into a tight space between colliding walls, resulting in its demise with a satisfying squish. The following day, Glade summons a meeting of the Gladers. While many of them are thrilled that Thomas managed to kill a Griever, there is another faction led by Glade who believe that the existing rules were established to ensure everyone's safety. They argue that ever since Thomas arrived, there have been unsettling changes, such as Grievers attacking during daylight. Coincidentally, at that moment, the elevator arrives. The boys rush towards the elevator to see what it has brought this time. To their surprise, there are no supplies. Instead, they find a young girl inside. She looks up and weakly utters, "Thomas," before losing consciousness. Clutched in her hand is a note bearing the words, "She's the last one ever." Glade demands that Thomas be punished for allowing a non-runner into the maze. He is troubled by the fact that the girl recognized Thomas and is fearful that the elevator has not descended since they brought her up. Newt suggests that Thomas be locked up overnight without any food, and starting the next day, he will become a runner. Gally expresses frustration with Newt's leniency. Some of the boys decide to venture back into the maze to examine the remains of a creature called the Griever, much to Gally's dismay. Within the Griever, they discover a peculiar device displaying the number 7 on its electronic screen, bearing the WCKD label. The boys realize that the entity supplying them with provisions is also responsible for creating the Grievers. Mino presents Thomas with a map depicting the intricate layout of the maze. It reveals distinct outer sections that change daily, each assigned a unique number. The previous night, Section 7 was accessible. Meanwhile, a girl regains consciousness and perches atop a tower, playfully hurling objects at the boys below. Thomas calls out to her, recognizing her, and she agrees to allow him to join her. He explains that her memory has been wiped, but it will gradually return, including her own name. To his surprise, she reveals that she already remembers her name, Teresa. Furthermore, Teresa recalls Thomas as well. He shares his dreams involving her and a woman uttering the phrase, "Wicked is good." Additionally, upon waking up, Teresa discovered 2 syringes in her pocket. During the night, Thomas faces the consequences of being confined, locked away as a form of punishment. However, his solitude is interrupted when Chuck pays him a visit, bringing food and presenting a small, intricately carved statue he made. Despite Thomas not recollecting his own parents, he believes they remember and long for him. Thomas returns the statue to Chuck, assuring him that one day he will be able to personally deliver it to his parents. The following morning, Thomas and Mino venture into the maze accompanied by the device they obtained from the Griever. The device emits clicking sounds and guides them towards an unexplored section that Mino has never encountered before. Mino becomes apprehensive as they notice that all the outer sections of the maze appear to be accessible. Eventually, they reach a spacious area marked as the WCKD loading dock, but it turns out to be a dead end. However, the device changes from red to green, revealing a new path. This path leads them to what appears to be a sewer tunnel, with slimy edges resembling the secretion of the Grievers. Sensing danger, they decide to return to the Glade. Thomas makes the decision to use one of the syringes on Albie, who is still undergoing changes. Surprisingly, the injection improves Albie's condition. Upon awakening, Albie cryptically tells Thomas, "You were their favorite," leaving the meaning behind his words unknown. However, their conversation is abruptly interrupted as multiple doors throughout the maze swing open, unleashing a swarm of Grievers. The ensuing Griever attack results in the loss of many boys and the destruction of their village. Sadly, Albie falls victim to the assault. Chuck narrowly escapes by being snatched by one of the Grievers, but manages to sever its tail. In the aftermath, Thomas realizes that the venom from the Griever stings aids in triggering memories. Acting upon this revelation, he stings himself with the hacked-off tail, leading to the recollection of more fragments of his past. Thomas recollects that the maze is not merely a prison, but a deliberate trial. He witnesses numerous boys confined in incubation tubes, many of whom are gripped by panic. In his memories, Thomas also envisions himself as a scientist alongside a girl named Teresa. Using the second syringe, the Gladers administer a cure to Thomas, who then confesses his involvement in their predicament to the entire group. Gally, consumed by anger, along with his followers, binds Thomas and Teresa to stakes near the entrance of the maze as an offering. However, realizing that half of the group stands with Thomas, they manage to free him and Teresa, causing a division among the Gladers. Expressing his preference to die while attempting to escape rather than perish without making an effort in the Glade, Thomas leads a team into the maze. They reach the loading dock area, where they encounter another attack from the menacing Grievers. Seeking refuge, they navigate through a sewer tunnel that eventually leads them to a locked door. Realizing that a numerical code is required to pass through, they deduce that the sequence used to open the maze is the key. Teresa enters the code, enabling everyone to pass through the door, which subsequently crushes the pursuing Grievers against the closing walls. As the teens progress through various corridors, they eventually come across an exit door. Upon entering, they find themselves inside the laboratory that Thomas had previously seen in his dreams and memories. To their shock, all the scientists within the lab are deceased. At this point, a video commences playing. The woman encountered earlier introduces herself as Ava Page and explains to the children that they may not remember, but the world has suffered widespread devastation caused by an affliction known as the Flare. Page reveals her affiliation with a controversial organization called the World Catastrophe Killzone Department, which believed that by conducting experiments on the children, they could study their brain activity and discover a cure. Meanwhile, as she speaks, armed guerrilla soldiers abruptly storm in, attacking and killing the remaining scientists. Paige expresses her satisfaction that the children have successfully passed the initial test and reiterates the motto that wicked is good. Shockingly, before concluding her message, Paige takes her own life with a self-inflicted gunshot to the head. As a door swings open, leading to the outside, an unexpected arrival interrupts the group's attempt to leave. Gally emerges, armed with a gun, asserting that they all belong in the Glade. In a desperate act of bravery, Chuck jumps in front of Thomas, taking the bullet intended for him. Gally, in turn, is stabbed in the chest with a knife. Tragically, Chuck passes away, but not before handing the now bloodied statue to Thomas. Suddenly, a group resembling the guerrilla soldiers from the video storms in and guides the kids outside, where waiting helicopters await them. Initially appearing to be in a desert, a wider perspective reveals that they are outside what was once a city, now devastated with ruined buildings and covered in sand. As they soar above the maze and the Glade, nobody questions why the helicopters didn't land inside the Glade to rescue the children directly. In the final scene, it is revealed that Paige is alive, wiping off fake blood from her head. She expresses satisfaction that the kids have taken the bait and that more of them survived than expected. The maze was deemed a success, paving the way for the commencement of Phase 2. The helicopter takes off, heading towards the City of Ruins. If you would like to see Part 2, make sure to like and subscribe to Alpha Recaps. Bye.